They
cling to the definition given to them by imperialism and start talking about democracy without really knowing the basics. That's incompetence. You have to know, look at the world to redefine democracy as we want it in Africa.
When some of our leaders listen to Captain Traore, they'll be asking themselves, where is this guy coming from? Where did this guy come from? Because Captain Traore and those in the Sahel, they are redefining the geopolitics of Africa. They are not just talking, they are living the talk. And they are redefining everything. And this is what we have been saying. We have to create our own narrative. Don't just sit down and then somebody will come and tell you democracy. And then you just take it anyhow because he said it. Because he claimed he is your colonial master. And then as we are saying, we have to even redefine that, because when you call them your colonial masters or colonial powers, they feel superior to you. So call them colonial criminals. And this is what we've been saying here in One African Mission. They are not your colonial masters. They are your colonial criminals. They are criminals, no masters. You cannot call a criminal your master. Somebody who rape, steal your everything, and then you call him your master? No, that is a criminal. And that is exactly what Captain Traore is doing. I want us to go and watch the full video as he talks about the so-called democracy, which Malcolm X described as nothing but hypocrisy. Malcolm X said democracy is nothing but hypocrisy. And
they attacked the victim. And then the criminal who attacked the victim accuses the victim of attacking him. Yes, sir. This is American justice. Yes, sir. That's right. This is American democracy. Yes, and those of you who are familiar with it know that in America, democracy is hypocrisy. Right. Now, if I'm wrong, put me in jail. But if you can't prove that a democracy is not hypocrisy, then don't put your hands on.
That is exactly what Captain Traore is saying here. But our leadership in Africa, they haven't really waking up to this realization. And then we pray that more of them will wake up to understand that democracy is nothing but hypocrisy. There is nothing like democracy. Even the Western world, they don't practice democracy. Let's watch the full Captain Traore video, come back, and then have a say about what he's saying.
Whether you're a Democrat or not, how can you impose democracy by killing millions of people? It's a dictatorship, not democracy. You can't impose it. Those who call themselves Democrats have seen scenes where people were prevented from joining assemblies. We've seen scenes where forces landed in assemblies to force deputies to take texts. We've seen more terrible scenes where people kill their demonstrators. But they call themselves Democrats, and we're called Perseus. If that's democracy, I repeat, we don't want this democracy. And when you see incompetence, they don't seek to know what the real meaning of the word democracy is. They cling to the definition given to them by imperialism and start talking about democracy without really knowing the basics. That's incompetence. You have to know, look at the world to redefine democracy as we want it in Africa. Incompetence hides behind freedom. Remember, there is no individual freedom. It's a fact.
Yes. You know, when you listen to Captain Traore, honestly speaking, as we speak today, Captain Traore is the most intelligent leader on this planet Earth. When you listen to him, the way and manner he articulates himself, man, this is a brilliant, God-sent leader to us as African people. You're talking about democracy, and then you're calling leaders like him dictators, but you never see his people come out demonstrating against him. Rather, they are showing him love. So what is democracy? You never see his military gunning down their citizens. But these so-called democratic countries, they cannot even come out and demonstrate without them being analyzed by their own leaders. And yet you don't see them to be. You see, we are not against nothing. We want a better Africa. That is all, whether democracy or dictatorship. But what we know is that democracy has not helped Africa. That is a fact. And then these colonial criminals who go around the world bombing democracy on people that they don't like, they themselves, they don't practice democracy. Tell me which country practice democracy. Everybody have their way of life, their way of governance. Europe, which country? They all have their sovereign way of governing their people. Yet they will come to Africa and force you to accept some certain things. Look at what is happening in France. The president should have been resigning by now because his party is in the mess. Look at Britain. Can you imagine, even in Britain, for you to become prime minister, if your people elect you, you have to go to the royals, the royal family, the monarch, so that they will give you the authority to rule over the people. So if the monarch doesn't like you, the people can vote you, but you will not be prime minister. You have to go and first of all swear allegiance to them. And yet they will come to Africa and teach you what democracy is. If an MP is voted in Ghana or in any part of Africa, the MP will represent his people. Nobody cannot stop you from representing your people. But in Britain, the so-called democratic country that go around the world bombing democracy to the people of Libya and making them slaves today. In Britain, if you are elected as an MP, member of parliament by your constituency, you have to go first and swear allegiance to the king and his family before you will be given seat in their parliament. If not, if you refuse not to go, then you will not even be allowed to enter the chamber, not to talk of being sworn in as an MP. Even though your people love you, but you have to go and swear an allegiance to the king before they will allow you to even enter the chambers. And yet these people will come and teach you. That is why our people, our leaders said democracy. These people never trust European when they come to teach you something, when they come to tell you something. Their religion, their spirituality is fraud. Their education is fraud. Their so-called democracy is fraud. Everything for them, they live in fear and panic. So everything for them is for their interest. They don't care. So you will see, maybe you will see this country, they border this country and this country, they share borders. The Western colonial criminals, they have problem with this country purposely in the name of democracy, but they don't have problem with another country, even though the leader in that country have been in power for more than 20, 30, 40 years. They don't have problem with that. So these people are nothing but hypocrites. And that is what Captain Traore is saying. Let us think as African people when these people are telling us things. When they come and they are telling you democracy, human rights, there is nothing like that. They don't know what is called democracy. If they cannot, or what is called human rights. If they're going to talk about human rights. You see, today we are living in the 21st century. And social media has exposed these people. So if you are still living in ignorance, you are deliberately living in ignorance. You are intentionally doing it. We are all seeing what is happening in Russia and Ukraine. We're all seeing it. We're all seeing what is. Imagine if this was the same thing. This was the same reasons that they went and bombed democracy on the people of Libya. No-fly zone. The president of Ukraine have been calling for no-fly zone. NATO should put no-fly zone on Russia. Why are they not doing it? Let them try it. If you're gonna tell us about human rights, go and tell the Israelis and the Palestinians, not us. And this is the reason why we are calling on Africans, the youth of Africa, to stand up and demand a united Africa. Let us make the unity of Africa so obvious to our people, to the extent that any leader who doesn't want to talk about the unity of Africa will make them unpopular or will kick them out of office. Because as we speak today, for some reason, no African leader is talking about the unity of Africa. What is happening to us? Because this is the only way we can regain and stand toe to toe with these colonial criminals who go around the world talking about democracy. But in reality, they don't even know what is democracy. What is democracy to a dying body, a dying soul? What is democracy to a people who cannot even have, who doesn't have security in the Sahel? For 10 good years, we were suffering from terrorist attacks, and yet you are talking, you only preaching to us about democracy. You can have democracy even if you don't have food to eat. You can have democracy even if your children cannot go to school. Democracy, democracy, democracy. What has democracy done for us as children of Africa? And what is democracy? And just as Captain Traore said, we should be intelligent enough to understand these people in this 21st century, and we should not allow them to continue to manipulate us in the name of no democracy. They don't know what is democracy. Democracy, as Malcolm X said, is nothing but hypocrisy. I thank you very much for coming around. Please, if you appreciate what we are doing, don't hesitate to share what we are doing. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, One African Mission. Together, me and you will bring back our dignity as children of Africa. Thank you very much.